Subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated with the latest videos from School of Technology, Management and Engineering and MIMS Indore.
We now begin with a session, Fundamentals of Data Analysis using MS Excel, by session experts for today, Ms. Apurva Kumar and Ms. Aditi Singhal, students from MBA Tech 5th year, STME and MIMS Indore. The prerequisites are shared in the chat box, which you have to open in your browser during the session. Hope you all enjoy the session. Over to you, Apurva and Aditi.
Thank you, Isha. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an era of technology. Computer and computer science are booming. To keep up the pace with the modern world, School of Technology, Management and Engineering, NMIMS Indore, presents Sunday Tech Series, Session 6 on the topic Fundamentals of Data Analytics using MS Excel. We heartily welcome you all to the session.
So let us first have a glance on what all things we will be learning today. What is data analytics, statistical basics, essentials for data analytics, and lastly, data visualization, all using MS Excel. Beginning with a little interaction, what is the first word that comes to your mind while listening to the term data analytics? To answer this, open slido.com and enter the code 040881. Or you can directly scan the given QR.
Okay, so the responses have started to come. So we get Python and Excel over here. We are waiting for more responses. So there's one more Tableau. There are people thinking about Python more. So with these answers, let us now understand it in more details.
So coming to a very important part, what is the importance of data analytics in business? I hope you all can recognize each and every logo mentioned here. Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, all these big companies use data analytics extensively and make all their decisions and policies based on the data.
Now, why are we using and teaching Excel here? Excel is the most commonly used tool, whichever industry, whichever job profile you will be working in. You are definitely going to use MS Excel. As you can see, 750 million people are already using it worldwide. MS Excel provides first-hand analysis of a given data set. Some other commonly used tools or languages for high-level data analysis are Python programming, R programming, SAS programming, and many more.
Apurva, without any further ado, let us begin with the real thing. Moving on to the formal definition of data analytics. Data analytics is the systematic computational analysis of data. It is used for the recovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in the data. Ultimately, it helps in improved and effective decision making.
Coming on to the different types of data analytics. First comes the descriptive analytics. It helps in describing or summarizing what has happened in the past.
Coming to the second, that is diagnostic analytics, which focuses on the past performance to ascertain why something has happened.
Third in the series would be predictive analytics, using all the past gathered data to tell what is likely to happen on a macro level.
And last, prescriptive analytics, which is an extension of predictive analytics used to recommend one or more courses of action on analyzing the data. As you can see in the image, from descriptive to prescriptive, the complexity level gradually increases.
Moving on to the steps involved in data analytics. Data analysis is a process of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, informing conclusions, and support decision making. We start with data requirement specification, in which we study the problem statement and gather all the necessary requirements.
The second step is data collection. It is the process of gathering information on targeted variables identified as data requirements. Data collection ensures that the data collected is accurate such that the related decisions are valid.
Moving to the third step, that is data processing and cleaning. The data that is collected must be processed or organized for analysis. This includes structuring of the data as required for the relevant analytical tool. Further, we clean the data, that is, we correct all the errors like incomplete values, duplicate values, etc.
Moving to a major step, that is data analysis. Now that the data is processed, organized, and cleaned, it is ready for the analysis. Various data analysis techniques are available to understand, interpret, and derive conclusions based on the requirements.
Coming on to the final step, that is data visualization. Data visualization is used to represent the data in graphical format to obtain additional information regarding the insights within the data. Now, this can be summarized in a report which is communicated further for better decision making.
We have now successfully completed part 1 of this session. Now, before moving further, let us know, do you guys remember the basic concepts of statistics? For answering this, open slido.com and enter the code 040881 or scan the given QR. Let's wait for more responses. It is great to know your responses. Still, it is always great to revise these concepts again. In this, we'll be covering the measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion in detail.
A measure of central tendency is a summary statistic that represents the center point or central value of a dataset. The measures indicate where most values in distribution fall and are also referred to as the central location of a distribution. First measure of central tendency would be the mean. The mean is the arithmetic average, and it is the probably that measure of central tendency that you are most familiar with. You just add up all the values and divide by the number of observations in your dataset.
Coming to the second, mode. Mode is the value that occurs most frequently in a dataset. If the data has multiple values that occur frequently, we have multimodal distribution. If no value repeats, then the data does not have any mode.
Coming on to the third measure of central tendency, that is median. The median is the middle value. To find median, order your data from smallest to largest and then find the data point that has an equal amount of values above it and below it.
Moving to the measure of dispersion. The measure of dispersion helps to interpret the variability of the data. That is, it lets us know how homogeneous or heterogeneous the data is. In simple terms, it shows how squeezed or scattered the variable is. Standard deviation is the most commonly used measure, and it measures the dispersion of dataset relative to its mean. The variance is the square of standard deviation.
Second measure of the dispersion would be range. So range is simply the difference between the maximum and minimum value given in a data set. Moving on to the third measure of dispersion, that is kurtosis. So kurtosis is all about outliers. Firstly, let us understand the concept of outliers. Basically, an outlier is a data point that differs significantly from other observations. Kurtosis is a measure of whether the data are heavy-tailed or light-tailed relative to a normal distribution.
Coming to skewness. Skewness is a key statistic concept you must know in data science and analytics field. Skewness is the measure of asymmetry of an ideally symmetric probability distribution. Difficult to understand, right? I'll give you an easier example. As you might already know, India has more than 50% of its population below the age of 25 and more than 65% below the age of 35. If you'll plot the distribution of age of the population of India, you will find that there is a hump on the left side of the distribution and the right side is comparatively plainer and has the tail. In other words, we can say that there's a skew towards the right. Hence, it is called a positive skewness.
Similarly, we can understand the negative skewness by a graph in which we plot the retirement age of the population of India. The hump will lie on the right side and the tail on the left, as the retirement age is generally around 60 and above, making it a negative skewed graph. Now, understanding the simplest distribution of all three, the symmetrical distribution, which can be understood by a very relatable example of our exams, in which the majority of the students score average marks, and there are few toppers who score extremely high marks like above 95%. And there are few students who score very less marks or fail the test. Moving on, let us test your understanding on this topic. So there is a class of 40 students and their height is measured in centimeters. If their height is plotted, what type of distribution will it follow? So either it would be positive skewed, symmetrical distribution, or negatively skewed. You can, to answer this question, you can open slido.com and enter the code 040881 or scan the given QR. So we are waiting for responses. So as of now, there's a tie between positive skewed and symmetric distribution. Yes, so I guess symmetric distribution is the most preferable answer as of now. Yes, I would like to inform you the correct answer is symmetrical distribution. And with this, we'll be moving ahead.
So, for deeper understanding on the topic skewness and kurtosis, you can refer to the link sent on the chat box. Now, let us try our hands on Excel. For this, we request you all to open the Excel file, which was sent yesterday through mail, or it is also being shared in the chat box right now. Let's open the first sheet, master sheet. Yeah, so this contains a data set of a cosmetic store. The data consists of about 1891 rows and 7 columns that are transaction number, name, product code, product, units, amount, and location. This is the data set that we'll be using for all our analysis today.
So now, let's get started with the calculations of central tendency and dispersion. For this, open the sheet named as measure of central tendency. You can see here the data set is on the left and the calculation table is in the right. So for this sheet, we have only considered first 15 records out of the whole data set for simpler and better understanding. Coming onto the table, the commands have been fed for your convenience. All you have to do is just add an equal to sign before the command and press enter to execute it.
Now let's get started with the first command, that is the mean function. We are calculating mean of units column and amount column respectively. As we studied that mean is the average of the data set. Hence, the command used for calculating mean is average. Now select the data range as you can see in the sheet. The range is being highlighted. Or pressing enter, the mean of the units column is displayed. Same goes with the amount column.
Moving ahead with the mode, we learned that the mode is the value which is repeatedly occurring in a given data set. Excel versions above 2007 provides functions of single mode and multiple modes, namely mode.mult for displaying multiple modes if exist and mode.sngl for displaying only single mode. So we'll continue with mode.sngl for our units column as well as amounts column. So as we can see manually, the amount column does not contain any value that repeats more than once. Hence, there is no mode for the amounts column.
Now, last measure of central tendency, the median. which is found by ordering the set from lowest to highest and finding the exact middle. The Excel provides the function named median, which enables us to calculate median in a very simple manner by just selecting the range as the parameters of this function.
We hope that you must have tried all the commands by now. We'll wait for 30 seconds to you to complete. So we hope that you are comfortable with accessing the commands and putting equal to signs and pressing enter to execute the commands. With this, we have successfully completed the first sheet of our session and moving to the next sheet, that is the sheet for measure of dispersion. So the exercise remains same here too. All you have to do is just place an equal to sign before each and every command to make it execute.
So, starting with standard deviation calculation for units and amounts respectively. The Excel provides two kinds of standard deviation calculation, stdev.s and stdev.p. The .p function is used for the data represents the entire population, and the .s function is used when your data is a sample of the entire population. So the data set we are considering here is a 15-row sample data. So we'll use stdev.s function here.
Moving ahead with the variance function. So in similar manner, variance function in Excel versions above 2007 provides two kinds of variance calculations, that is var.s and var.p, where S and P stands for sample and population respectively. Here also we have used var.s as our data is 15-row sample.
Then comes the calculation of range. So as mentioned before, range is simply the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value given in a data set. And that's all we'll be doing in Excel. Excel doesn't have any direct function to calculate range. Hence, we'll use max function minus min function for the calculation. We hope that you might have executed all the commands by now. Also, we have successfully completed the sheet 2 of our session.
Now, let us move ahead and learn about some interesting data analysis essentials that Excel provides. Let's get started with the essentials of data analysis. In this, we'll be covering pivot tables and lookup tables.
So coming to the pivot tables. Have you ever had a lock that just wouldn't turn? Spray some lubricant on it and it moves. This is how pivot tables are. Insights are stuck in the data and the pivot tables will let you spin the data to find them. Pivot tables are primary source of reporting in Excel and are one of the most important techniques in data processing. They arrange and rearrange statistics in order to draw attention to useful information. This leads to finding figures and facts quickly, making them integral to data analysis. This table might include sums, averages, or other statistics, which the pivot table groups together using a chosen aggregation function applied to the grouped values.
Coming up to the lookup tables. Lookup and related functions are commonly used for data analytics in Excel as a way of slicing and dicing data for analysis. Now, let us understand the types of lookups available on Excel, that is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, where VLOOKUP is vertical lookup and HLOOKUP stands for horizontal lookup. Now imagine you are standing in a line at Starbucks, studying the prices on the menu. So what you actually do? You actually scan down the items on the menu and then look across the price columns corresponding to that item. That's exactly what a VLOOKUP function does in Excel. The job of VLOOKUP is to look a value in a column. Once it finds a match, the VLOOKUP will return the value from any cell in the same row as the match. HLOOKUP is exact same function, but looks up to the data that has been formatted by row instead of columns. For deeper understanding on the topic, HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, you can refer to the link sent on the chat box.
With this basic knowledge about pivot tables and lookup tables, let's create some for our dataset. So moving to Excel, we request you to switch to the sheet named pivot table. So as you can see here, there are 3 titles and 2 pivot tables in this sheet. So let's get started with the first one. As you can see, it is quite easy to interpret, right? The totals of the amount that we earn from each product can be seen, and also we get the totals of the earning based upon the locations. Let's make this table by ourselves. For this, first go to the master sheet which has our main data set. Now select the whole data set and move to Insert tab. You can see Pivot Table option in the leftmost corner. Click on it and a dialog box would appear. Select the range if you haven't selected previously. Also for now, as we'll make the table in this sheet itself, select Existing Worksheet option to display the table. Now select the cell you want your pivot table to be displayed on. Again, a dialog box would appear in right, named Pivot Table Fields. Now we need to arrange the products row-wise. So simply drag the products to Field Rows tab and we'll arrange the location column wise. So similarly drag the location field to the columns tab. Now come up to the Values tab. It holds the values of the fields in which we can apply functions like sum, count, average, maximum, minimum, and many more. For this table, we'll drag the amounts field to the values tab, where we can see sum of amount being displayed there by default. Hence, our pivot table is ready. You may format it further as per the requirements. Now, if you compare, we have made the same table which is present in the pivot table named sheet. Congratulations on developing your first pivot table for our dataset.
Now, a mini task for you all. Try to build a pivot table for the second title, that is location-wise sale from the makeup products. I'll give you little hints for this. You have to display the count of units sold for each product, location-wise, and that's it. You will develop the required pivot table. We'll wait for a minute and then we'll move ahead with the third pivot table. So as Aditi explained, you only have to just go to the Insert tab and press Pivot Table and display the count of the units sold for each and every product in the cosmetic store, and your pivot table would be ready. We hope you are finding this easy to make a pivot table, as it requires only 3-4 steps. So we hope that you are efficient with making the pivot table as of now, and you have created a pivot table for location-wise sales from makeup products. So moving on with the third table in the pivot table sheet, that is a combination of first two. You can also verify your second table with this table as the sum of units are displayed over here. With this, we can say that you all have got a basic knowledge of pivot tables, and we can move ahead with the lookup function.
So now we request you all to switch to the sheet named VLOOKUP. Here you can see a sample database which consists the product name and its respective rates. In the right hand side, you can see a bill which can fetch directly the rates of the products the customer purchases. Before moving ahead, let us understand the VLOOKUP function. So I would like to emphasize on the formula mentioned in the cell E8. Here, the first parameter denotes what is to be found in the database. The second parameter is simply the range of the whole data from where we want to find the value. And third parameter is the column number that we want the value from. And the last parameter is for approximate or exact match, where true value is for approximate match and false for exact match. We have used here false to get the exact value of the corresponding item. Now, you can put an equal to sign before the VLOOKUP function to get the rate of the product mascara. That is coming out to be rupees 150. In similar manner, prices for other products can be fetched. You can try it for a minute.
You may fetch the prices of other products from the sample database.
We hope you were able to do it. Now, moving on to a very interesting part of the session, that is visualizations.
Before formally starting about visualizations, let us know the types of graphs that you are already aware of. So to answer this, open slido.com, enter the code 040881, or you may simply scan the QR code. We are waiting for responses. So we get two responses, that is pie chart, bar graphs. Bar graphs, histograms.
Bar graphs and pie charts are the most common ones.
Most common, yes.
Yeah.
So I would inform you that you are all right in your opinions, and we'll be continuing with all these type of visualizations in our next slide. Moving on.
So, as the formal definition suggests that it deals with the graphical representation of data. It is particularly efficient way of communicating when the data is numerous. Effective visualization helps users analyze and reason about data and evidence. It makes complex data more accessible, understandable, and usable.
To communicate information clearly and efficiently, data visualization use statistical graphics, plots, information graphics, and other tools. Some of them are displayed here, and there are many more. Starting with the bar charts, these represent data with rectangular bars with heights or lengths. The bars can be plotted vertically or horizontally. Also, a vertical bar chart is sometimes known as column charts.
Then comes the line graph, which connects individual data points that typically displays quantitative values over a specified period of time. Moving on to the pie charts, which are one of the basic charts and are extensively used on day-to-day basis. Basically, pie chart is represented through a circle that is divided into sectors, in which each represents a proportion of the whole.
Next in our list is histograms. So histograms are very important in data analysis. As you all saw in the measure of dispersion part of the session, plotting histograms enables us to know the skewness and furthermore the kurtosis of the data. Hence, a histogram is graphical representation that organizes a group of data points into user-specified ranges so that one can see the frequency distribution.
Coming on to the scatter plot, which is a graph in which the values of the variables are plotted along the two axes. The pattern of the resulting points revealing any relation between the two variables. With this basic knowledge about visualizations, let's get started on Excel and practice them.
So now let us move to the visualization sheet. As you can see, the data set is present in the left along with the two titles in the right. Also, for your convenience, we have already pasted the earlier prepared pivot tables which we'll be using for making further visualizations.
We have already displayed a pie chart and a bar graph for your understanding. Now is the time to create another visualization. So let's get to learn that. So we'll be preparing a pie chart. Scroll down to the title for West location. Here, firstly, you need to filter the data set. Go to the table above and click on the drop down arrow in front of the columns label. Now, uncheck the select all option and select only West location. A consolidated table would have been made. Now, select this table and go to the Insert tab. You may find you may find that the recommended charts option in the middle section. Click on it and a dialog box would appear. Now select the pie chart option and click OK. As you can see, the pie chart has appeared. You can format it further as per your needs, like adding data labels, legends, and title. Also, you can format the design of this chart.
So the pie chart is ready. Now, a mini task for you all. You all are requested to create a bar graph for the parallel title, that is product-wise sales and earnings from makeup products from the table given over here. We'll wait a minute you to create the bar graph and then we'll move forward. So I hope the steps were easy. All you have to do is select the table, go into the insert tab, go to the recommended charts part, and select the bar graph instead of pie chart this time. We hope that you're finding it easy getting the charts and selecting the tables, as the pivot tables have been already pasted for your convenience. By now, we hope that you are able to create the bar graph and you're thorough with the pie charts. On this note, let's move towards the end of the session and let's have a quick look on what all we have done in the session to see how a basic report looks like. So this is a basic report of whole session we have practiced today, starting from the general stats of the data that was measure of central tendency. Then comes the pivot table. Then comes the general stats from data that was from measure of dispersion. Then there are few visualizations under the heading of location-wise units sold and product-wise earning. So this is a small report which can be consolidated and it looks like this. This report can be communicated further for better decision making, and that's what we were talking about the last step after visualization. We'll wait for 30 seconds you to scan the report and understand it wisely. So with this, We would like to congratulate all the participants for successfully completing this session and learning the fundamentals of data analysis using Excel. For queries, you can mail us on the displayed IDs and also connect us on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn profiles are being shared in the chat box.
We wish you all the very best for the future projects, and hope to see you all in the future events. This is me, Aditi Singhai, along with Apura Kumar, signing off for the day. Over to you, Isha.
Thank you so much, Apurva and Aditi. That was a wonderful session. Hope you all enjoyed learning about data analysis. With this, we conclude Sunday Tech Series Season 2. There was an overwhelming number of registrations with 1,000 plus attendees throughout the season. And this wouldn't have been possible without your involvement and active participation. Hope to see you all in all the upcoming events as well. I would also like to thank our director, Dr. Prachi Kharpure, for providing us with the opportunity to conduct this event, Associate Dean HTME and convener of this webinar, Dr. Akhil Banglawala, faculty team of the Sunday Tech series for their constant guidance, and the organizing team for their hard work to make it possible.